I was the most powerful Dark Lord in the Ascended Realms. Cornered and killed by the so-called forces of good, I was reduced to a single wisp of a soul, escaping with the shattered remnants of my treasures. To live again, to have my revenge, I needed a vessel. I chose a child. Slaughter 9/10 of your village, I told him, and you will kindle the core of your power. Seeing the hesitation on his face, I prepared to offer more persuasion. But then he spoke. That last 10%, he asked, will skipping on that affect my foundational power level? I blinked. In that moment, I knew I'd found the one. Malachi, Thorn, you soulless monster. You've brought nothing but plague and misery to this world. Today, the Covenant of Light will see you brought to justice. The man in the lead, Elias Vance, stood before my fortress, his long sword pointed at my face. My fortress, the Obsidian Spire, was surrounded by dozens of his righteous warriors. That's bullshit, I retorted. Vance's face twisted in rage, as if recalling a terrible memory. You dog. You practiced forbidden arts, blanketing the realms in a foul energy that gave everyone diarrhea for 3 straight days. A man behind him chimed in. And you sent your minions to hand out free Imodium. You made the cramping 1,000 times worse without any of the relief. It was agony. You deserve to die, another shouted. You put itching powder on the blind elder of the Silver Veils. You told her it was a rejuvenating skin cream. You forced the Blade Master to choose between eating chocolate-flavored crap or crap-flavored chocolate. His conviction was shattered. To this day, nobody knows which one he picked. You disguised yourself as a dashing rogue to seduce the High Priestess of the Silver Veils, lured her into the woods, and then forced her to play Connect 4 with you. Wait, did I do that? That's a complete lie. I yelled. They all flinched, but gave me no chance to explain. No matter. Your evil ends today. As he spoke, a storm of holy magic surged toward me. Unfortunately, I'd spent the previous night playing chess with the Boy King of Astoria. Just as I was about to checkmate him, he'd picked up the marble board and cracked me over the head with it. My mind was still foggy. It didn't take long for their spells to break through my defenses. I collapsed, grievously wounded. As several of them moved in for the final blow, I held up a hand. Wait, Vance sneered. Any last words? Oomph. I never disguised myself as a dashing rogue, I said. I already am one. With that, I detonated my own body. Look out, Vance screamed. He's blowing his core. As they scrambled for cover, my single wisp of a soul snatched up every treasure in the Obsidian Spire and fled, hurtling down toward the mortal plane. Dazed and weakened, I drifted until I found a remote little town. I wandered its dusty streets for what felt like an eternity until I saw him. A small boy being pushed around by a pack of other kids. The resentment rolling off him was a feast. With just a little nudge, I could set him on a truly spectacular path of darkness. I focused my remaining power, unleashing a wave of dread that sent the bullies scattering, leaving only the one kid sitting in the dirt, covered in grime. Hey kid, getting pushed around doesn't feel too good, does it? I whispered into his mind. Just think about how much fun they're having. All of it built on your pain. What if? Before I could finish, the boy cut me off. He looked up at the empty air, his eyes wide with pure joy. Holy crap, my power-up finally arrived? I've been waiting forever. I was wondering why a transmigrator like me was getting his butt kicked every day. My cheat code was just late to the party. He jumped to his feet. So what's the deal? How do I get magical powers? How do I start wrecking the whole world? I'm so ready. The kids who bullied me? I'm going to slice them into 1,000 pieces and use their skulls as ashtrays. My non-existent jaw dropped. You're making me look like the good guy here. I cleared my throat. Ahem. Well, kid, to be honest, your natural aptitude is weak. You'll likely only be suited for the path of darkness. Awesome. He clapped his hands together. I couldn't take it anymore. No, kid, you don't get it. I said darkness. The evil path. The one where you hurt people. Not the hero's journey. Do you understand? He just stared at me blankly. Yeah. Fine. I got back to the point. In short, you're not talented enough for normal training. You need to use life force as a sacrifice to kindle your core. He looked at me with an intensity and eagerness to learn that was honestly a little unsettling. Whose life? He asked. Anyone's, I said. He let out a visible sigh of relief. But, I added, It will take the lives of 9/10 of the people in this town to be enough. 9/10. He looked shocked. His eyes darted back and forth as he sank into deep thought. I chuckled to myself. So, he was just a scared kid after all. All that tough talk was just a front, born from being oppressed for so long. When it came to actually killing someone, he was afraid. He was just a child. He needed my patient, grandfatherly guidance. I began composing a comforting, persuasive speech in my head, watching the look of worry on his face. But his next words blindsided me. Sir, he said, you said 9/10. If I skip that last 10%, will it negatively impact the stability of my core? I was speechless. This kid was a natural. The old devil wasn't even dead yet, and the new one was already applying for his job. Satan just woke up to find himself demoted to vice president of hell. You, I told him, are a prodigy of the dark arts. With that, our plan began. We walked back to his house together. He told me his name was Kevin Miller. A good, solid name. He said he was from another world, a place totally different from the Ascended Realms. After we got more familiar, he started calling me Pops, even though my spiritual form was that of a man in his prime. He told me about his life since he'd arrived in this world. Damn it, Pops, it's been a nightmare, he said, kicking a rock. My so-called family works me like a dog, and I don't even get real food. They give me whatever the dog doesn't eat. And my little psycho brother, Danny, he's always pulling pranks. The other day, he gave me a rotten egg and told me it was one of those snap pops. He sighed. My parents are the worst. They make me sleep in the pigsty. One time, the old man even drugged the pigs and, well, you get the idea. He shook his head, then looked up with a defiant grin. But hey, it's me. They throw mud at me. I use it to make mud pies. I couldn't help but chime in, attaboy. I'm counting on you to turn things around for me, Pops. Can we do it? Kindle my core in 3 days, forward to Sunstone in 5, birth an astral self in 3 months, reach apotheosis in 5, and ascend in 5 years. I puffed out my spectral chest. Guaranteed. I followed him home, eager to see the family that had produced such a demonic genius. I hid inside a cheap ring on his finger, watching the world through his eyes. Kevin knocked on the door. A gruff, angry voice boomed from inside. Who the hell is knocking this late? I swear I'll crush your damn head. The door creaked open, revealing a short, stout man. Where the hell have you been, you worthless maggot? The dishes aren't done. The crops aren't watered. The pigs and the dog. Who's going to feed him? You are. Get your ass in here and get to work. From inside the house, a woman's voice called out. Is that thing back? A child's voice followed. The mutt's back. The mutt's back. I want to ride the mutt. Mommy, I want to ride him. Of course, my sweet Danny, the woman cooed. We'll make him give you a piggyback ride right now. Then her voice turned sharp again as she yelled toward the door. Get in here now. I saw a flicker of cold fury in Kevin's eyes. Are you deaf? You little punk? The man in the doorway snarled, raising his hand to strike. A blow from a man that size could easily deafen a child. My spirit flared, forming a protective barrier around Kevin. Smack! The man's hand hit the invisible shield of dark energy. The power surged up his arm like a black vine, seeping into his flesh. Ack! What is this? Get off! Get off me, he screamed. I manifested a sword. It appeared instantly in Kevin's hand. This is the Blood Drinker's blade. I told him, kill them, and their life force will become your power. Kill 9/10 of the villagers, and you'll have enough to kindle your core. Got it, Kevin said, gripping the black longsword. There wasn't a trace of hesitation in his eyes. Swish! With a single, clean stroke, he ended the man's suffering. The woman, hearing the commotion, came running out. What is all that noise? Hasn't that much started his chores yet? She yelled as she emerged. When she saw the scene on the porch, she froze. What? What did you do? How could you kill your own father? Kevin let out a contemptuous laugh. You think he was my father? He lunged, plunging the sword into the woman. The dark energy of the blade coursed through her, draining her life in seconds. As she collapsed, she uttered one last sentence. Please, spare Danny. Kevin just shook his head. Hilarious, he sneered. You have 2 sons, and you only care about one of them. Funny how that works. His emotions were wavering. Next, I urged. Okay, he said, his voice steady again. He walked into the house. At first glance, the small bedroom seemed empty, but a closer look revealed a trembling lump under the covers of the bed. A cruel smile spread across Kevin's face. He started to stalk toward the bed, a playful menace in his voice. Now, where did that last one go? Hiding, are we? Could he be? Over here. He swung the sword, cleaving a wooden table in two with a loud crack. Or maybe, Kevin continued, he's over here. The sword swung again, shattering a chair. Ha 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 ha. As Kevin laughed, the figure under the blanket couldn't take it anymore. A small boy threw off the covers and scrambled out, his face streaked with tears. Big brother, please don't kill me, he sobbed, his voice shaking. Mommy wants you to forgive me. You have to listen to Mommy. Please, brother. Brother? Kevin tilted his head, smiling as if he'd never heard the word before. I'll give you a chance, he said sweetly. The next time we meet, you die. He turned and started to walk away. I panicked. This wouldn't do. A true practitioner of the dark arts can't leave loose ends. The boy on the bed seemed to let out a sigh of relief. I was about to tell Kevin to turn back, but he stopped at the doorway on his own. He spun around, a wide, predatory grin on his face. Hey, we meet again. Swish. The boy's crying stopped abruptly. The magic of the sword was absolute. It consumed him completely, leaving not even a body behind. Kevin looked at his handiwork, deeply satisfied. Just as he was about to leave, I materialized from his ring, holding a black, tattered banner. Kid, don't let these go to waste. There are still 3 souls here. Kevin's eyes lit up with recognition. Whoa, the standard of archangels. This is the banner of 1,000,000 screams. I corrected him. Yeah, I know. The standard of archangels. It absorbs souls. Look at that pure, celestial energy. It's so dense it's turned black. A truly righteous artifact. I didn't understand. My banner tortures and consumes the souls within it. I explained again. I know. Side effects. Totally normal, he said with a wave of his hand. Fine. From that day on, my soul-devouring artifact, which had been with me for 1,000 years, was known as the standard of archangels. Its function, however, remained unchanged. The night passed in a blur of crimson. The town mayor who looked down on him, the pack of kids who bullied him, the grocer who always gave him rotten vegetables, the candy apple vendor who framed him for theft, getting him beaten for a full day. The entire town, influenced by his parents, had used him as a scapegoat for all their frustrations. Now they all lay dead at his feet. The village was a ruin, shrouded in a thick, dark mist. Watching him, not a hint of remorse on his face, only pure, unadulterated joy, I could only marvel. This child is a prodigy of the dark arts. After he had successfully kindled his core, I finally revealed my true purpose. Kid, the truth is, I'm the Lord of the Obsidian Spire. I was betrayed and killed. Now, it's your turn to help me get revenge. Kevin didn't hesitate for a second. In fact, he looked even more excited. I know, Pops, I get it. And at the end, I'll help you forge a new body and bring you back to life. He was a fast learner. I was more than satisfied. So what's next? He asked. I thought for a moment. The Ghostwater Deeps. There's a powerful demonic vessel submerged there. On the way, your job is simple. Kill. The more practitioners you kill, the more power you'll gain. That is the nature of the Blood Drinker's Blade. Deal. We set off immediately, leaving the silent village behind before the sun rose. The journey was surprisingly quiet. No righteous warriors came looking for us. But why was I, a legendary Dark Lord, stuck eating this kid's table scraps? Hey kid, is this stuff any different from what you ate back at that house? I asked, watching him gnaw on a stale piece of bread. Pops, you don't get it, he said defensively. This is like character building. When the heavens are about to confer a great office on a man, or whatever, all us geniuses have to suffer a little first. This is nothing. He took another defiant bite. You know, Pops, I've been waiting for this day for so long. Back on Earth, I spent a month LARPing as a speed bump on I-95 just hoping to get hit by a truck and end up somewhere like this. The first 15 years were rough, but now my protagonist journey begins. I'm going to conquer the world. I've even got my new name picked out. From now on, call me the God Emperor. I had no idea what he was talking about, but his enthusiasm was infectious. A noble ambition, kid. A month later, we arrived at a bustling city on the edge of the Ghostwater Deeps. Port Sion. It was a haven for treasure hunters and mercenaries, all drawn by the promise of the artifacts hidden in the deeps. The most coveted of all was the legendary demon vessel. But the deeps were treacherous, so most just waited here in this rowdy, lawless city for their chance. No freaking way, Kevin exclaimed as we walked through the main gate. Neon lights, bars. It's just like home. This is way better than that dump of a village. Hey, Pops, are the Ascended Realms even cooler than this? But of course, I said, puffing out my chest. In the higher realms, a single drop of morning dew contained enough energy to grant a mortal immortality. When I returned, I wouldn't just reclaim the obsidian spire. I would take it all. I was lost in my ambitions when trouble found Kevin. Oof! A middle-aged man suddenly stumbled and fell right in front of Kevin, clutching his leg and crying out in pain. Whoa, hey there, old-timer. You okay? Kevin, for all his faults, still had a shred of decency. He reached down to help the man up. I saw it immediately. I'd seen this scam 1,000 times. A classic slip and fall. Sure enough, the man stayed on the ground, wailing. Arg, the pain. You kid, why don't you watch where you're going? You nearly killed me. My leg. I think it's broken. He grabbed Kevin's arm and held on tight. Don't you go anywhere. You're paying for this, he shouted, drawing a crowd. Everyone come see. This kid knocked me down and is trying to run away. Like sparks in a tinderbox, his words ignited the onlookers. Yeah, what's wrong with you, kid? No respect. You knock him down. Now help him to a doctor. Pay the man. Kids these days. No sense of responsibility. I looked at Kevin's face. He wasn't scared or upset. He looked amused. What are you all talking about? He said with a smirk. Which one of your eyes saw me touch him? You did, the man on the ground insisted. Yeah, he did, someone in the crowd yelled. If you didn't knock him down, another voice piped up. Why'd you try to help him up? That was the line. That one sentence was the trigger. Kevin's smirk vanished, replaced by a cold, quiet rage. I don't know what it was about those words, but they lit a fuse. A moment later, the entire street was a river of blood. These people, being aspiring practitioners, provided far more energy than the villagers had. Sunstone, Kevin whispered, slowly opening his eyes. A shimmering, golden orb now floated where his core had been. Impressive, I nodded. Now to the Ghostwater Deeps. Let's go. As we walked out of the city gates, Kevin paused and looked back. Can't let the rest go to waste, he said. I've got a little recipe of my own. Borrowing my power, he unleashed a tidal wave of black energy that washed over the entire city. The screams were deafening as thousands of souls were ripped from their bodies and funneled into the standard of archangels. Kevin's power surged, birthing the astral self. Done. What took most cultivators 1,000 years, Kevin had accomplished in a single night. He let out a long breath. Better than an ice-cold Coke. What's a Coke? I asked. Ambrosia, he said. There's a divine nectar I haven't tasted. Don't worry about it. As we continued toward the deeps, my perception of Kevin shifted again. To think of wiping out an entire city. He was more demonic than I ever was. Was he really just a teenager? My approval was turning into genuine admiration. I felt like I had found a kindred spirit. I just hoped this massacre wouldn't create any inner demons for him. He had a distant, melancholic look in his eyes. I tried to comfort him. Kid, don't feel too burdened by this. Most of the people in that city were cutthroats and killers. They deserved what they got. You don't need to feel any pity for them. His expression remained gloomy. Kid, are you listening to me? Sigh. Pops, what is it? What should we have for dinner? I just stared. You little. Soon we arrived. We followed a long, carved tunnel leading deep underground. The path was lined with treasure hunters, lounging about, all of them radiating malice and ill intent. They were killers, every one of them. I gave Kevin a look. He understood immediately. Hey, he shouted down the corridor. No loitering. The tunnel, too, became a river of blood. His power solidified, reaching the peak of the astral self stage. We reached the end of the passage, a massive stone gate, magically sealed. A small, gremlin-like creature was embedded in the stone, cackling at us. Don't waste your energy. This is the tomb of a demon emperor. You can't break it down. You have to answer a question. Smack. Kevin slapped the gremlin across the face. You're a weird-looking little dude, he muttered. All right, what's the question? Spit it out. The gremlin's eyes darted around, clearly plotting some kind of revenge. "Be careful, kid," I warned. He shot me a confident look, then turned back to the gate. The gremlin spoke, its voice dripping with malice. "Tell me the most evil thing you have ever done." Kevin answered without hesitation. "I wiped out a city." The gremlin shook its head. "Boring. Lots of people have done that." Kevin's eyes lit up. Okay. I sent diet pills to a starving village. I tied a guy down and covered him in itching powder. I told my friend how Game of Thrones ended right before he watched the finale. I use a helmet in fantasy games that looks like a torture device. During the day, I play Valorant and trash-talk Counter-Strike players. At night, I play Counter-Strike and trash-talk Valorant players. The gremlin's brow furrowed. "Dude," it said, its voice filled with a strange respect. "You're a monster." The stone gate rumbled open. I didn't understand half of what he said, but that kid was truly something else. "Nailed it," he said, shooting me a smug grin as we stepped inside. The chamber was simple, a single demonic body, perfectly preserved, floating in a vast pool of blood. The pool writhed with millions of trapped souls. "Kid, the body is mine. The souls are yours." "Deal." We split up and began our work. My spirit slowly merged with the powerful vessel. Kevin, using his banner, began to absorb the endless sea of souls. When I awoke, a century had passed. I lay on the stone floor, my fusion complete, and watched Kevin, who was still deep in meditation. This new body was even stronger than my original. I was just one step away from true ascension. Kevin, meanwhile, had reached the threshold of the great ordeal. He slowly opened his eyes and grinned at me. "All right, Pops. Time for revenge." "Okay," I said. He looked surprised. "Whoa, you picked up okay. Guarantee, my dude. This Dark Lord is broken." We set out for the Ascended Realms without a moment's delay. The 10 great sects that had conspired against me would fall, one by one. But when we arrived, we were stunned. The first sect, the Sunstone Order, was completely empty. The air, thick with celestial energy, was also tinged with a faint smell of blood. "Something's wrong," I muttered. Kevin was busy playing with my new, long white hair. "Man, this look is sick. Total final boss vibe. Are you even listening to me?" I snapped. "Yeah, I heard you." They probably got scared and ran. "Let's not waste time. On to the next one." I nodded, and we sped to the next holy sect. It was the same, and the next 8 after that. Every fortress, every temple was deserted. The bustling Ascended Realms were a ghost town. "Holy crap," Kevin said. "Did the fantasy RPG campaign just end, and now we're in a creepypasta?" "A what?" "It's a thing from my world." "Oh." Then Kevin had an idea. "You think maybe they're your old place? The Obsidian Spire. What would they be doing there?" "Raiding your base, dude. Not on my watch. Let's go." The Obsidian Spire was also empty, but I had a terrible feeling. We went to the central spire, my throne room, the very place where they had cornered me. As I scanned our surroundings, Kevin plopped down onto my throne. "Whoa," he said, stroking the dragonhide upholstery. "You really know how to live." Before I could reply, a voice echoed from the hall entrance. "Who goes there? What are you doing in this dark place? Are you remnants of Malachi's evil?" It was Elias Vance, leader of the Covenant, sword in hand. Behind him stood the other 9 masters who had fought me that day. But their faces were blank, their movements wooden and lifeless. Before I could answer, Kevin leaped up from the throne. "What's up, everybody? It's your boy K-Dog the Ripper, solo practitioner with over 10,000 hours logged in the art of destruction. My hobbies include stabbing, slashing, and razing cities to the ground." I was confused. "I thought your name was Kevin. Is K-Dog some kind of mythical beast?" "Don't worry about it, Pops. It's the battle cry of the #1 clan for my world." Vance sneered. "Such arrogance from child. You speak of razing cities? You are truly a fiend. I will strike you down myself." He shot forward, his sword a blur of light aimed directly at Kevin. His power signature was overwhelming. He had reached the peak, far stronger than he was a century ago. The 9 masters behind him followed, a storm of steel and magic. As they drew closer, I saw the truth. The 9 masters were dead. Husks, puppets animated by some dark power. Only Vance was alive, and his power was immense. "Pops, a little help here." Vance had targeted Kevin on the throne, probably assuming he was the new leader. A reasonable mistake, given my new body. The next instant I moved. Boom! I caught all 10 attacks in the palm of my hand. Vance's eyes widened. He leaped back, landing lightly on his feet. He stared at his holy sword, which now had tendrils of dark energy crawling up the blade. His shocked gaze snapped to me. Malachi Thorn? You're alive. What? Disappointed? I smirked. Kevin chose that moment to chime in. Pops, this is your big nemesis? He looks kinda lame. This is the guy who killed you. I couldn't help but let out a chuckle. Vance's face contorted with fury. You old dog. And you little punk. You will both die. Once you're gone, I'll be the strongest in the world. No, I will finally ascend. He was a mess. His pristine white robes were stained with dark energy, his hair wild. He looked less like a holy warrior and more like a madman. I scoffed. The forbidden, devouring art hidden beneath my own fortress. Even I never dared to practice it. Look what it's done to you. Today, Malachi Thorn will be the one to exterminate a demon. Kevin stared at me, wide-eyed. A pops? Well, demons, too. It's different. We attacked as one. I was slightly stronger than Vance, but with the 9 puppets on his side, we were locked in a stalemate. Just as the battle reached a deadlock, Kevin made his move. Behold, he yelled, the 5-point, soul-annihilating palm. Vance flinched, instinctively raising a hand to block the legendary, and entirely fictional, technique. Swish! Kevin's sword flashed, slicing a deep gash across Vance's exposed arm. You used a sword for a palm technique. Vance roared. You cheat. Kevin just giggled. The blood drinker's blade, my gift to him, tasted Vance's supercharged blood and went into a frenzy, greedily sucking the life force out of him. Ack, what is this? Vance screamed, realizing his mistake. But it was too late. I held him in place with all my might. He became food for the blade, dissolving into a fine red mist in a matter of seconds. Kevin wrinkled his nose. Shameless, trying to block my sword with his arm. He deserved to die. I just stared at him. You have no shame whatsoever. Hey, I'm just average, he said with a shrug. The feedback from the sword supercharged Kevin's power. He broke through to the final threshold. My own power, a moment later, followed suit. A brilliant column of light engulfed us. The gates to the highest heaven opened above, waiting for us. At the same time, another portal opened to our side, a swirling vortex of blackness. My intuition told me it led to another world. Well, kid, I said, which will it be? The heavens above, or back to that earth you're always talking about? Kevin stroked his chin. You know, I'm kind of homesick. I pointed to the black portal. Going through that one will probably strip you of all your power. The hesitation on Kevin's face vanished instantly. Let's go. Ascend. A grin spread across my face. Together, we soared into the heavens. Up there, we were like fish in water. Our legend spread quickly. The ageless archmage of the North Spire found his bathwater replaced with Nair. Master Kalen's prized griffins were barbecued, and he ate 2 whole drumsticks before realizing they were his. The gnomish Horde Warden's treasure vault was untouched, except for the mysterious disappearance of several million pounds of sunflower seeds. The list went on. Kevin and I sat on the edge of a celestial cliff, watching a nebula bloom below. Hey, Pops, he asked, you think we're going to get smote for all this? Nope. I smoothed back my hair and smiled. I borrowed the Storm Sovereign's lightning staff for a bit. I held up the staff, which was currently being used as a rotisserie spit for a heavenly crane. Kevin gave me a thumbs up. Nice. You're the best. Guarantee, my dude. By the way, kid, tomorrow is Lord Aurelius the Dawnbringer's birthday. Where are you getting him? A custom-made lace teddy, he said, and a set of novelty jade weights. You little devil, I said, a slow, knowing smile spreading across my face. And